Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk in English. I'm Garrett.
And my name is Esther. Today our topic is tips.
And our title is Managing Your Time. Yes, friends, we started this yesterday.
Right. And Julie gave us a great tip on how we can manage or control our time. She said, I make a list of my tasks and a time to do each one.
Right, she writes down about how much time each task will take. This helps her to use her time well.
Yes, we all have many tasks, the things we need to do. You have housekeeping tasks, like cleaning the floor, washing your dishes, and you have work tasks, things you need to complete at work. How about what's a school task someone might have?
Well, writing your homework, of course. This is a big task that students have most days. It's not fun, but it's important to manage your time well to get it done.
Right. And Sam gave us another good tip yesterday. He says he does not check his phone too much when he is working. He doesn't want to waste time checking his messages.
Well, how should we use our time right now? I think we should tell you today's Find It question. Why does James break large tasks into smaller steps?
Why does James break large tasks into smaller steps? Listen carefully to find the answer. Now let's go to Sonia with today's keywords.
James 拿出一本新的计划本，他把重要的事都记在上面，包括工作的完成期限。I put my deadlines in it. 名词 deadline 就是截止日期、最后期限。但是 James 并不会把每一件事都记在本子上。他说，如果一件事只需要2分钟就能做完，他就会马上做完，不用记下来。I do it right away. 惯用语 right away 就是马上、立刻。Sarah 建议应该要先完成紧急的工作。James 也同意，要先完成了紧急的工作，再做其他事情。After you finish those, you can work on your other tasks. 动词 finish 就是完成。James 说，如果手上有个大案子，他会先把工作分成比较小的步骤。I break them into smaller steps. 动词 break 就是分解，那样做会比较容易完成。They are easier to finish that way. 形容词 easy 就是容易的，而 easier 就是比较容易的。
Hey Sarah, see my new planner?
That's a nice one.
I put my deadlines, meetings, tasks, important events, and other things in it.
Do you write down every single task?
Not usually. I follow the 2-minute rule.
What's that?
If a task takes less than 2 minutes, I do it right away.
I see, but most tasks take longer than that.
Right. I write those down and do the important ones first.
Garrett, James has something that I have too.
Oh, what is that?
Well, I have a planner. A planner is a book where you plan what you will do. It's like a schedule book. There are online planners as well.
Yeah, I've tried to use those before. I always forget to write the things that I need to do in the book, and then it's not as useful.
Well, James shows Sarah his new planner. He is very excited about his planner.
Yes, he is. And Sarah likes it. She says, "That's a nice one." Hey, that's a nice one. A very nice Calendar phrase.
That's a nice one.
That's a nice one.
那个很不错。
See my new pen?
Oh, that's a nice one.
See my new cup?
Oh, that's a nice one.
See my new folder?
Oh, that's a nice one. Where did you get all these things?
At the bookstore around the corner.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's a nice one.
That's a nice one.
那个很不错。
That is a nice planner. Well, James puts many things on his planner.
Right, like deadlines or when projects need to be finished, meetings, tasks, and other important events that are going on in his life.
Right. And we all have different kinds of deadlines. If you are a student, you might have a deadline for when you need to turn in your homework. And at work, you might have a deadline for when you need to turn in your report.
Yes, I don't know why we have the word dead in there, but it's just the time when you need to finish these things. Well, does James write down every single task that he has?
Well, he doesn't do it all the time. He says not usually. And he follows something very special. He calls it the 2-minute rule.
What is the 2-minute rule?
Well, he says if a task takes less than 2 minutes, then he will do it right away. He will do it without waiting.
Okay, so he doesn't need to write it down then. He just starts doing it.
That's a good idea because if we keep waiting, then we will have many tasks that we need to do. But if it only takes 2 minutes or less, it means we can do it right now, right away.
Yes. Well, that works for some things, but most tasks take longer than 2 minutes. Most take longer than that. That's the phrase that Sonia will talk to us about now.
James 说他做事采取2分钟原则，但是 Sarah 说 But most tasks take longer than that. 不过大部分的工作需要花的时间都不止2分钟。本句的 longer 为副词 long 的比较级，用来形容动词 take， 表示花更长的时间。后面的 than 是用来跟另一个人、事物比较，表达 A 在哪方面会比 B 更怎么样。我们来举例。Most adults eat more than children. 大部分的成年人吃的比小孩更多。或是 Most dogs run faster than cats. 大部分的狗跑得比猫更快。
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, most tasks take longer than 2 minutes. So James writes those down in his planner and does the important ones first.
Now, today we heard this word right used in a few different ways. Now, RIGHT can mean the right hand. You have your left hand and right hand. But here it means you're agreeing or saying yes. Remember, this word is different from how you spell right. W-R-I-T-E.
Right. See, you can use this when you agree with what someone is saying. Now, friends, it's time for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Let's talk it.
做就去开车以后吼，什么牛鬼蛇神拢有。
哎，阮讲金声甲粉粉，我知啦，无顺路啦。
你若是拒载哦，我会当甲你投诉哦。每一台车拢有家己的个性，拢是咱华丽车行哦，这个大家庭的每一份子。无出去走车，拢毋知外口的世界是啥物样。
Today we've been talking about the phrase right away. Garrett, what are some other things we should do right away?
Well, if you think of someone who needs some encouragement, send them a text or give them a call right away.
And if you did something wrong and you feel bad about it, try to say, I'm sorry right away if you can.
There's no need to wait. Hey, there's no need for us to wait to watch the next part of our conversation.
You should do your urgent tasks first, too.
I agree. And after you finish those, you can work on your other tasks.
Speaking of other tasks, how do you manage large tasks?
I break them into smaller steps. They're easier to finish that way.
And what do you do if you can't finish a task on time?
I might ask others for help, and I say no to new tasks.
Now, Sarah tells James that he should do his urgent tasks first.
Yes, his urgent tasks. Earlier, we heard the important tasks need to go first, but the urgent ones are ones that have a deadline that's coming up. You need to finish them quickly, or that deadline will pass.
This is a great word you can use. If I write a work email and something is very important, I will often write urgent at the front. Then people will know they need to read it right away.
Yeah, it's important to do the right things first. That way, those important or urgent tasks won't be left until last.
And James agrees. He says, after you finish those, he's talking about the urgent tasks, you can work on your other tasks. Now, we hear this word finish a lot.
If you finish something, you do all of it. You complete it. So make sure to finish your homework.
Now, Sarah also wants to know how James manages his large tasks. She uses the phrase speaking of because they're talking about it. Sonia, can you help us with this phrase?
Sarah 说应该先做紧急的工作。James 说他同意。Sarah 又说 Speaking of other tasks, how do you manage large tasks? 说到其他的工作，你怎么处理大型工作？在句首的 Speaking of something 可以用来开启话题，引起对方注意或点出谈话主题。除此之外，若现在所谈的主题让你联想到另一件事，也可以用 Speaking of 什么做开头，然后跳到另一个相关的话题去。我们来看例句 Speaking of dinner, what are we going to eat? 说到晚餐，我们要吃什么？或是 Speaking of new teachers, did you meet Mr. Hunt yet? 说到新老师，你见过 Hunt 先生了吗？再学一句 Speaking of pets, where is yours? 说到宠物，你的宠物在哪里呀
Thank you, Sonia. Friends, did you find the answer to our Find It question? Why does James break large tasks into smaller steps?
Because that way it is easier to finish them. See, sometimes we see a big task and it's overwhelming. It gives us stress. But we don't need to think of it as just one big task.
Here, James says, I break them into smaller steps. Here, break means to separate or take apart. Think of 2 Lego bricks. If you want to break them apart, you're going to separate them.
Right. So if you have a big task, like a big report to finish for work, don't just think about that one report. Think of the smaller steps along the way, like brainstorming or coming up with an intro. think of all these different small steps that you can finish easier.
Right. Maybe do the part you think is easiest first. Now, if something is easy to finish, it means it is not hard. We can use the words easy to talk about not hard. If something is easier, then it means it is not as hard as something. And we use the word easiest to talk about a group of things and the one that is the most easy.
Right, the easiest. Well, what does James do if he can't finish a task on time or before the deadline?
Well, James will ask other people for help. That's a great idea.
Right. Sometimes you can already tell you won't be able to finish something before the deadline. So you can ask others for help and make sure not to take on any new tasks at that time.
Yes. Friends, now it's time for us to go and review today's keywords.
Here's your first keyword for today. Deadline. Deadline. My project deadline is next week.
Right away. Right away. Come home right away, please.
Finish. Finish. I finish breakfast before 8 a.m.
Break. Break. He breaks his projects into many parts.
Easy. Easy. It's easier to walk than to bike. All right, friends, those are your keywords for today. You're doing great. Just keep on practicing them.
And now it's
your turn.
Today's words are deadline, right away, finish, broke, and easiest. Now it's your turn to use them in a sentence. First one, she, the class into groups of 6. You got it. She broke the class into groups of 6. Next, he noticed me walk in. Correct. He noticed me walk in right away. Next, let's do the job the way. Great job. Let's do the job the easiest way. Next, please telling me the story. You're right. Please finish telling me the story. Last one. Give me stress. That's correct. Deadlines give me stress. That was fun. Make sure to come back again for your turn.
Hey, Sarah. See my new planner?
That's a nice one.
I put my deadlines, meetings, tasks, important events, and other things in it.
Do you write down every single task?
Not usually. I follow the 2-minute rule.
What's that?
If a task takes less than 2 minutes, I do it right away.
I see, but most tasks take longer than that.
Right. I write those down and do the important ones first.
You should do your urgent tasks first, too.
I agree. And after you finish those, you can work on your other tasks.
Speaking of other tasks, how do you manage large tasks?
I break them into smaller steps. They're easier to finish that way.
And what do you do if you can't finish a task on time?
I might ask others for help, and I say no to new tasks.
Look, Ginger, I have a new planner.
Hey, that's nice. What's it for?
I can put all kinds of information in it that
生生拢有。来，阮讲金声加分班。
我知啦，无顺路啦。
你若是拒载哦，我会当甲你投诉哦。每一台车拢有家己的个性，拢是咱华丽车行哦，这个大家庭的每一份子。无出去走车，拢唔知外口的世界是啥物样。
Deadlines, meetings, tasks, and events.
Wow! Hey, that's a lot of information.
That's why I write it down. I'll start with my tasks.
Will you write down every task?
No, if it takes less than 2 minutes, I'll do it right away.
Oh, but most tasks take longer.
So I'll do the most important thing first.
Well, that makes sense.
And the urgent things.
Oh, urgent things like shopping for food. That's important and urgent.
Yes, that's true.
And I'm really hungry right now.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
So that's important and urgent. Write that in your planner and let's get something to eat.
Good idea. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go now.
Excuse me,
Yes?
may I ask you a question or two?
When?
Right now.
Oh, will it take less than 2 minutes?
Yes, it will just take a minute or two.
Perfect. What do you want to know?
Here's my question. What is the 2-minute rule for managing time?
Whoa, that's easy. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it right away.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, do you follow the 2-minute rule?
Yes, I do. That's why I'm answering your questions right now, because it will take less than 2 minutes.
Oh, that's right. So, why do you follow the 2-minute rule?
Well, I can finish the task quickly, and it's done. I don't have to write it down, and I don't have to worry about it.
Good answers. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Was that less than 2 minutes?
Yes.
Great!
Friends, we hope you learned some useful ways that you can learn and use to manage your time. Now let's talk about this activity we have in the magazine.
Yes, friends, many of our articles have an activity in our magazine. It will help you to practice what you're learning.
Right, and this one is special because it shows us how people waste time at work. What are some of the things they might do?
Right. So friends, don't waste time. Carry on with your English learning by doing this activity in the magazine.
And we will see you again tomorrow, right here on
Let's Talk in English.
Bye-bye.